Hi everyone, welcome to Architecture Photography Tutorials. This quick hit tutorial is going to be focused on finishing. So how do we finish an image? We've made all of our edits and now we're at the point where we need to get it ready to deliver to a client in Photoshop. So let's dive in here. I have two images to share with you. So here is an image of an office space. It is a round conference room. Kind of a cool little setup for a conference room. But anyways, let's just say we've gone through and done all of our edits. This one's not quite final in my opinion, but for the purposes of this tutorial, let's say that we're done. We're happy with everything that we have done to this image. And so the first thing I'm going to do, say we have all of our edits done, I'm going to do Command J because I want to make a copy of all of my flattened layers. If you haven't flattened your layers, this is probably around the time where you want to do that. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here, create a new curves adjustment layer. And this is really going to make our image pop. So up here at our preset, there's a couple different options. You can try linear contrast, medium contrast, you can try lighter. So there's a couple of different ways that you can work with the curves. You can go default, which will be straight. So you can do some of this work yourself as well. Let's go back to default. I like linear contrast. I think it gives just that right amount of a little bit of pop, contrast to your image, just really helps to give that detail that your client likes, because it's going to pull those shadows out a little bit more, give your colors a little bit more depth. Just a really nice way to get your image that much closer to being final. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten my, pardon me, Shift Command Option E. I'm going to flatten my image again, and then I'm going to duplicate it. So this is really the last step that I take, and I'm going to go up to the top here. I'm going to go Filter, I'm going to go Other, and I'm going to go High Pass. And this is going to create a weird grayscale looking photo. And what this is basically doing is saying, okay, like where are the edges within your image? And so you can go 0 and it's not really going to find a lot of edges, and you can go really high and basically it's saying everything's a sharp edge. We don't want that. I like to hang out around 5.5, and so then that gives me this really kind of funky grayscale image. But then if I go to our blending mode and I go to soft light, it takes it back to a normal image. And all it's doing is just giving your edges a little bit of crispness. And let's kind of go up here. We can kind of see, so before, after, before, after. So you can even see like the lines up here, just a little bit sharper. Everything just kind of starts to stand out a little bit more. You can try overlay, you can try hard light. So you can play around with the blend mode that works for you and your style and what your client wants. I like soft light. I think it gives really that best look to an image. So that's this one. And then with this, I would just go File, Save, and export it out. Let's go into our example number 2. We'll do the same thing. So we have our image here. If we kind of zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to do the same thing. Again, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create that new layer. It's going to be a curves adjustment layer, and I'm going to go to linear contrast. Again, you can kind of see that pop, because sometimes when we're going through or making all of these changes, our images look a little bit flat, and we don't want that. That's not what we want to deliver to our client. And so you can see it kind of is just giving everything just a little bit of pop. I mean, the floor starts to stand out a little bit more. This back colored blue here is a little bit darker. It's not as flat. Again, just a nice, really quick way to make your image pop. And then again, Command Option Shift E. We have our new layer. I'm going to duplicate it by clicking Command J. I'm going to go up to my filter, Other, High Pass. And again, I like that radius at 5.5. Play around with it a little bit if you want a little bit less. If you want a little bit more, go for it. It's really what works for you and for your client and for your style. I'm going to say that a lot in all of these tutorials. This is how I do my work. What works for you and what works for your client might be different. Let's click OK. Again, we have our weird, funky grayscale looking image. And I'm going to go down to soft light. And again, before, after. I mean, you can kind of see on the back of the Dell here, computer, just before, after. I mean, just all of those edges just kind of really sharpen out. Just gives a little bit more detail. Our E-spaces even a little bit too. Gets a little bit. Again, you don't want to go overboard on this, but let's just see here, before, after. So hopefully you can see that. Really just kind of sharpening everything up, all of our edges. You know, for me, these two, the curves and then high pass, just really make my image pop, gives me something that I'm now comfortable delivering to my client. So that's how I finish up an image after I've done all of my edits. Everything is done. These are the last two things that I do in Photoshop before I bring it into Lightroom. So hopefully this quick hit was helpful for you. If you have any questions, as always, reach out. Appreciate you watching. Have a great day.